Okay, buckle up. First, I apologize for not being very responsive on this thread. I was getting into the comments a little bit this morning, starting to dig, and I got a phone call from both Cochlear and Medica. Cochlear essentially asking me to sign the form that acknowledged that Medica had not accepted a one-time exception, had denied it. So I asked questions because I didn't want to sign that without knowing what I was signing. From what I gathered from the Cochlear rep, they came back and said, oh, Medica responded to us and said we don't need a one-time exception. So, okay, that's kind of confusing. I hang up trying to sort through that. So then, not even 5 minutes later, I get a call from a Medica patient advocate wanting to go through the case as a whole, which I had not spoken to Medica directly at this point. All of these moving parts, our audiologist and Cochlear and the insurance were working together at this point. So I start talking to her and we dig into it a little bit. Come to eventually realize, this is the short of it because I could go on for a while. Medica, our insurance, is a Minnesota-based company. Cochlear is based in Colorado. So when Cochlear says, yes, we don't contract with Medica, that's true. But what got left out is that Medica works with United Healthcare outside of Minnesota when it comes to other healthcare claims. United contracts with Cochlear. So the one-time exception was not needed through Medica because it technically was going to be processed through United. Somehow between all of the entities that was not communicated. This one-time exception never had to be filed, you know, what's been going on for like the last 4 months. It's complicated and you don't know what you don't know. So naturally part of me feels like I'm at fault for responding so quickly with anger and frustration before like settling and getting the entire picture and letting it play out over 24 hours. But also there's just such a failure to communicate and educate across the healthcare system as a whole. For people who don't have the time and resources to dedicate to learning these things and fighting this fight and having these phone calls, like I don't know how it's supposed to be doable. Like at the end of the day, that is what it was just a failure to communicate across the board. I will say Cochlear has always been amazing to work with directly. I really appreciated the Medica rep reaching out. She was incredibly helpful. She reached out to Cochlear directly and talked to them. Do I think any one entity is at fault here? No. Do I think there's a breakdown of communication as a whole through the system? Yes. Do I think parents have a right to be frustrated by that? Absolutely. But I do want to take ownership for reacting so quickly. And I want to share this because I am not the only person in Minnesota who has Medica as a health insurer who will deal with a cochlear implant upgrade. And I hope somebody comes across this that needs it and can be saved this time and effort and confusion. It's been a day. And I do want to thank everybody who left comments on the initial post and suggestions because there's a lot of good resources there. I hope somebody comes across those when they need them. And obviously this scenario played out a little bit differently, but I just really appreciate this audience and the willingness to always jump in and educate and help.